welcome back to my YouTube channel, Peace Jones. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you are new here, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for subscribing and checking out my content. Please continue to share my content so that my channel can grow. Share it with your friends, your family, your social media pages. And for the guys that have been here with me, been consistent and rocking out, thank you so much for rocking with me. So I'm going to post a video today that is about travel. So I recently posted another female solo travel trip, my trip to St. Thomas in February. And after doing that post, I actually wanted to post a video about staying in an Airbnb while you travel solo as a female versus staying on a resort when traveling solo as a female, because to my surprise, they're two totally different beasts, right? So I just kind of wanted to break some things down to my female solo travel buddies that may have never stayed on a resort traveling solo, or that may have never stayed in an Airbnb traveling solo, or to people that are new to it, they've never done either and they just want to see what's going to work out for them. So yeah, guys, tune in and let's get into it, okay? So I broke it down into the two different options, obviously. So we'll start with an Airbnb, okay? So the Airbnb is usually going to be more exclusive, right? When I say that, it's usually obviously someone's home. When you build a home or when you rent an apartment or condo or whatever, you're looking for something that catches your eye. You're looking for something that is in a good location. You're looking for something that has good amenities. So when I say exclusive, I mean like it's usually nice. It's usually ducked off somewhere, nice furniture, interior design, usually has a pool or a hot tub depending on where you're at, some type of amenities, something catchy, something exclusive that makes you feel like, yeah, I'm living life, like I'm on vacation, this is nice, right? So usually are pretty exclusive. Great views. Most of the times, especially in the islands, you will come across Airbnbs that are just centered smack dab on a hilltop that overlooks the ocean, or in a rainforesty area that just has beautiful foliage, or has a view of the Eiffel Tower or the desert or whatever it may be. So most of the times when people rent out their homes as Airbnbs, they are in nice locations. You're gonna get some great views, okay? They are usually luxurious. I mean, there's definitely Airbnbs out there that are more, economically pleasing, a little bit cheaper for my frugal people, because I'm frugal myself. But a lot of them are very luxurious. Like, they actually have a portion now on Airbnb that's called Airbnb Luxe, where it's like the nicest places. And you're usually going to get a pretty nice pad when you get an Airbnb, unless you opt out of that and you just want something simple and basic, right? Okay, it also gives you that at-home feel. So one thing that I noticed about staying in an Airbnb traveling alone, and once again, this video is tailored more towards my solo female travelers. I have stayed in Airbnbs before traveling with other people, but this was my first time alone, right? So it gives you that at-home feel, right? You literally feel like, obviously it's not your home. You don't have all that comfort and security, but you feel like you're at home, you know what I mean? Like you're living outside of the mixing and the hustle and bustle of the city. And even if you are smack dab in the city, you still feel like you're at home. You get to kind of close that door and block everything out, as opposed to a resort. Okay, a lot of times, as I mentioned earlier, unless you do go for that exclusive, luxurious resort, you are getting something a little bit cheaper, right? Most of the times when you opt for a resort, especially the all-inclusives, you're paying a little bit more, right? So usually an Airbnb does end up being cheaper, less per night, whatever. You also have amenities with Airbnbs. Don't get me wrong. Like, there's so many Airbnbs that are in high rises that have great pools, hot tubs, gyms, saunas, bars, whatever, as well as homes that have those things as well. So you're definitely not going to miss out on the amenities unless, like I said, you choose a more, basic, simple type of home when you get your Airbnb. Okay. So it's also usually secluded, right? Usually it's, like I said, a home. So it's going to be within a neighborhood. It's going to be on the outskirts. It's going to be in a residential area. So that was one thing that I obviously knew, but it was a little bit different because you don't think about that until you're there, right? When you're used to staying on resorts, it's kind of like like you take advantage of the fact that like someone's right next door. You have a neighbor. You walk out your door, you see someone. You see the hotel staff. You go to the pool. I don't care how early or how late someone's out there. You go to the bar, restaurants. It's not ever like you're really alone or secluded. Airbnbs, you definitely are. They're usually, like I said, in areas where maybe there's not a ton of other people, there's not a ton of other homes. So you definitely have to prepare yourself for that mentally because yeah, it's not gonna give you that same, like, I guess, safe, secure type of feel. You also have to watch out for safety when you're staying at an Airbnb, okay? So, not to say that they're not unsafe, because a lot of Airbnbs have like gated neighborhoods that they're in, or security, or cameras. Like, I feel like everyone has a camera at their home nowadays. So it's not that it's unsafe, it's just that sometimes you may be missing out on all of the security features that you would get on a resort. Obviously, at a resort, you have the security that you have to show your wristband to or show ID to even get down that road that then leads up to the resort. So no one's usually coming in there. They have to surpass a few different checkpoints and measures. And even if they do get through, you still have security on the resort, cameras, everything that you need to keep you safe and to feel safe. And you usually don't even question that, right? When you're staying at an Airbnb, you may have some of those things, but it's the response time. Do you know much about crime in that area? Do you know if these security cameras are faulty? Do you know if 911 responds within a decent time here? Would they be able to find your area or address if you are in a more secluded area? So you definitely want to consider those safety issues. Then you want to consider proximity to medical resources. If you, God forbid, have to go to the hospital, if you need to go to a clinic, now with COVID, if you have to go get your testing done, if you just happen to need an ointment or some Tylenol, how close is that to you? Food, how close is that to you? If you're hungry in the middle of the night, if you wake up and you realize that you have no more water left and you're thirsty as hell, how far do you have to walk or drive or ride to get to water and food? Entertainment, where's your Airbnb in proximity to the nearest club, the nearest bar, the nearest function? Are you going to be bumping around the middle of the night coming back from a bar and your Airbnb is 30 minutes away from it? Or can you literally walk outside and down the street there's a bar? You want to consider that as well, as opposed to staying on a resort where everything's right outside your front door, okay? Then you have to remember, with an Airbnb, you're counting on a great host, okay? So I know a lot of people suggest in my female solo travel groups to only go with Airbnbs that are listed under super hosts. So if you don't know much about Airbnb, there's a bunch of different features, but one of their features is where, like, obviously you rate the host rates you, and they become a super host after they get like so many good ratings. And maybe they throw in extra things. Maybe they provide you with like candies and brand new towels for all their guests, or a thank you letter for all their guests, or whatever it may be, keeps the house clean, things like that, and they become a super host. And most of the times those people are thought to be or known to be like very helpful. They have very fast response times if you need things, stuff like that. But then you also have hosts that aren't listed as super hosts. And that's not to say that they aren't good hosts, but sometimes those are the people that aren't going to respond as fast. You may really need something. You might need to know the Wi-Fi password, maybe a door breaks or a latch and you need to lock the door, so now you can't go out for the rest of the day. You would obviously want them to be polite. Sometimes they aren't as polite. I've definitely experienced that. I remember I had a trip to New Orleans planned, and there was a hurricane coming, and I was trying to go back and forth, have some dialogue with the Airbnb owner, trying to figure out, hey, you're from down there. They're saying it's really bad here, but I know you guys are used to it. Like, what do you think? Should we cancel? Should we still go? She was just like very, nasty, standoffish. She really didn't want to give me any information. She was kind of just like, I felt like, hey, you booked it, come. Like, don't waste my time. You're messing with my money. So you want to make sure that you have a host that is able to engage with you, that is responsive, that is organized, that goes through and just checks their property every now and then. When I was in St. Thomas, the Airbnb I stayed at, like I said, the latch on the door ended up breaking. So like the code, I was putting it in, but the door wouldn't lock. Kind of held me up for the day at one point because I wanted to go out, but I wasn't going to just leave the door unlocked with my belongings in there. I stayed in Airbnbs that aren't as clean, so it's just like, you have to make sure that your host keeps their property up and they're also good at hosting. You know what I mean? And sometimes you really won't know that until you get to the property, unfortunately. Then also, you don't have that extra help and assistance with like check-ins and check-outs. So usually resorts, they are very on point when it comes to check-in. Literally give them your ID. And as soon as you walk in, it's like boom, boom, boom. They pull you up. They know the room that you want. They go through it with you. They send the bellman, get your stuff. Within a few minutes, and it's in your room. Like, you got everything you need. Check out, same thing. They know which airport they're taking you to. They know the transportation that you need. They can see if you don't have transportation, they'll offer it, whatever it may be. So you don't always have that extra assistance and help, even just going to the front desk at a resort if you have a simple question, if you need a band-aid, like whatever it is. Resorts, they kind of are just like, more helpful. They have more staff. They have more people on hand. That's what their job is to do. Airbnb's transportation. So that might not be accessible 24/7, right? Obviously, if you are staying in an Airbnb, you're counting on either a rental car or some type of public transportation, whether that be a taxi, a bus, metro, MARTA, whatever it may be, Uber. So a lot of times you might not be able to find that 24/7. And then depending on where you're at, like I mentioned in my St. Thomas video, I was in like a very secluded area. It was mountainous. A lot of the taxis didn't even want to drive all the way up the hill. It took me a significant amount of time to get down the hill. So it was like, if I need something at midnight or 3 a.m, how am I going to get it? I don't have that accessibility to transportation 24/7. I can't just be like, hey, I'm going on my excursion, pick me up from the front lobby like I would at a resort, okay? Then there's a lot of legwork that goes behind staying in an Airbnb in general. You really do have to do your research. And then even once doing it, sometimes it's still like you're hit with surprises. So even going into finding what you think is the perfect Airbnb, it has the amenities that you want. It's located where you want. It's in the price range that you want, right? But then you also have to do your legwork about the host. Look at the reviews. Make sure the amenities are working with what you want, because sometimes it's like, oh, well, the pool is open, but it closes at 7 p.m. Well, maybe you're not going to be back at your place at all at 7 p.m., but you still wanted to utilize the pool. Or maybe it's like, hey, we do have security, but after 10 p.m., they're not going to let you back in. And you're like, well, hey, I planned on being out all night. How is that going to work? Or whatever it may be. Yeah, it's just a lot of legwork, a lot more than just booking with a resort and you're knowing like, okay, what they're known for. Okay, this is a 4.5 star. Not to say that they can't, not satisfy you or make mistakes, but it's more, it's less nerve-wracking and like questionable when you just book with a resort versus an Airbnb where you got to be like, okay, let me go through the fees. Well, that cleaning fee is like $200. Does that make sense for a place that only $99 per night? I don't want to come back in at 10 p.m. every night, but the security is going to lock me out. Oh, we have a hot tub, but you can't get in with drinks. You can't have food and drinks around the hot tub. You know what I mean? So it's just a lot more legwork, a lot more planning, and a lot more research that you have to do. Then it may not be as advertised. So that goes for cleanliness, appliance issues, etc. Right? So let's say it says that it has working washing machine and dryer, right? And some people really care about that. Like I met a lady on my excursion in St. Thomas and she was like, I need a washing machine and dryer. Like I like to wash my clothes on vacation. And they might promise that it's in great working condition. And then you get there and it's not. And you're like, okay, what do? I already paid my money and I'm only going to be here for 4 or 5 days. So I'm pretty sure they're not going to get a technician in to fix it. So boom, now I'm stuck with dirty clothes if that bothers you. Or you may come in and certain lights don't work. Now you're stuck with bad lighting. You're using your flashlight to get around the bathroom. Or broken toilet, moldy shower, whatever it may be. You really do have to kind of deal with that once you're there. I mean, I've heard of people like switching out Airbnbs because they weren't satisfied. But for me, I'm like, once I get there, I don't want to deal with that. I hate a stressful vacation. I hate stress in general. So like, I don't want to have to deal with like booking another Airbnb, trying to figure that out, going through that. Am I going to get my money refunded? Ain't nobody got time for that. Then you are also living amongst locals, right? So that was another thing that kind of like got me in check, because I remember one night, and this ties into my last one, so I'll just say it. You may get lost at some point, whether that means lost on the wrong street, lost in the neighborhood, lost at the wrong house. And this goes for more so like areas that aren't as what we think of as residential for Americans, right? So most of our residential areas, it's literally like a strip. You have your homes, boom, boom, boom. Your homes across the street, boom, boom, boom. Your homes in the cul-de-sac, boom, boom, boom. And it's much easier to navigate. You have 1301, 1302, 1305, whatever. A lot of times when you're traveling, it's not like that. So for example, the Airbnb I stayed in St. Thomas, right? Even if I got lost at night, I would have to like walk all the way down a hill that's pitch black. I can't even see the house numbers if I wanted to. And then let's say I find the house, then I have to walk down like maybe they have another set of stairs that I then have to get to. Then I see a door, but I don't know if it's a front door or a side door. Everything's pitch black. Once again, I don't know if they have a dog there. I don't know if they're sitting out there, waiting for an intruder. Or you have to walk up a hill and then down a driveway and then through the bushes. You know what I mean? So when I say you're living amongst locals, it's like, it's not a bad thing at all, because a lot of times they're very helpful. They're very nice. They're going to, help you get around the island, maybe help save you some money, make some suggestions, whatever it is. But at the same time, you're living amongst them, and if they do have bad intentions, you're right there. You're right there in a house that they know is rented out, that they know has foreign travelers coming in and out. Clearly, they can see that you're a female that's alone, and they know that area. They know that neighborhood. They probably know how to get away with whatever it is that they may want to. So you have to keep that in mind. And as far as like getting lost, one night I did get lost. And like I said, it was pitch black. I couldn't see anything. I literally was like disoriented, and I wasn't drunk. And thank God I wasn't, because I think if I was, like, that could have ended very badly. And I got so lost, I almost wanted to call the police, because I literally was like, I can't find my way. You know, like, imagine being lost and then not being able to see. It was just, and it's like everything's a hill, up a hill, down a hill, narrow roads. It was just a mess. And so I remember at one point a car drove by, and naturally I wanted to, you know, like, get their attention. But first of all, I don't think they could see me. And then on top of that, I had to think, like, wait, I don't know this person. It's literally like pitch black out here. They could do anything. They could tell me to go anywhere, you know. And once the car drove by, it kind of got lost. So it was even like, if I wanted to walk up and ask them something, I didn't know where it went. You know, it's not like driving down the boulevard in North Carolina where, okay, I see this car driving down the street. I can still see because there's street lights. I saw them make a left on Myrtle Road, and then they pulled into the driveway at the pink house. Like, it's not like that, you know? So you have to be very aware that, like, you need to keep track of where your place is. You need to keep track of landmarks. You need to, like, pin your location. All of that, because you can easily get lost. And then living amongst locals, like, you don't really know if you're going to be able to get the help that you need, and you don't want to make yourself too vulnerable, like, hey, I'm this lost girl traveling alone, help me out, because that's how you get taken advantage of. Okay, so on to the resorts, right? So staying at a resort, you tend to feel more at ease, right? I know when I stay on resorts by myself or with friends, I feel like I'm living in luxury. I feel like I have no worries. I know that it's their responsibility if anything happens, and I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, not to say nothing can happen, but once you go back to your room and you're locked in the room and you pull your curtains on your balcony or whatever, like, you're pretty much feeling safe, right? Tending to feel more at ease. The people are also within reach. So literally, if I had an emergency in the middle of the night, I could call down to the lobby. I could literally run outside of my door and ask something. There's literally always someone out and about working, walking around. They even have night staff. So you're always going to have someone that you can call on. If it comes down to it, you literally have a neighbor next door. You can knock on their door. So people are always within arm's reach, which kind of makes you feel good, safe, and secure. You have access to amenities just like you did at the Airbnb. However, usually these amenities are more plentiful. You usually have more options. Sometimes they're a little bit nicer, and they usually don't have the restrictions on them that an Airbnb's amenities would. So like I said, like Airbnb, their pool might close at a certain time. They may have rules for food and drinks around the hot tub or the pool. You know, security gates may close at a certain time, whatever. Usually the amenities on a resort are more like lay back, relax, do what you need to do. Of course, certain things close at certain times, but you usually have a greater time frame to enjoy the amenities. Okay, then you also have accommodation, service, and hospitality at your fingertips, right? So I did have someone comment on my St. Thomas video, and she was basically pretty, you know, rude, and she was like, you know, well, don't expect to come here and get the red carpet laid out for you. And the crazy thing is, a lot of people think that American travelers are just like that. Like, they think that we're going everywhere looking for the red carpet to be laid out. And me, I think I'm a pretty versatile person. I think I am able to adapt. Don't think that I'm the pickiest person when it comes to being just in luxury and picking the finest things. Now, don't get me wrong. I do enjoy nice things. I do want to be in luxury when I can. However, I do know how to get down with the get down. And I'm not super picky. But I need reasonable accommodations, right? So if something is just totally disgustingly dirty, I'm not going to sit in there and enjoy it because I paid my money to be in a clean space. Or if I go to a country and the locals are extremely rude to the point that I feel unsure if I want to even ask them a question. That's a problem, okay? So when you have accommodation, hospitality, and service, that goes a long way. And it's not about wanting a red carpet laid out for you. It's more about wanting what you paid for and expecting people to do their job, right? So if I don't know, an airline stewardess. Like, I have a job that I'm expected to do. It's not about anyone looking down on me or expecting me to do a certain thing. You have a job and that's what you should do. You know what I mean? Same with like a police officer. You wouldn't go up to a police officer and be like, oh, well, a police officer wouldn't come up to you and be like, oh, well, you just expect me to keep you safe and out of danger just because. Like, no, that's a part of your job description in certain places, in certain areas, and things like that. So yeah, don't let anyone tell you that you shouldn't be receiving hospitality, service, and accommodation when that's the person's job. And I don't mean to say that like looking down on anyone. I'm just saying, like, if that's what your job description entails, then you should do it, Then they also have lots of resources. So if you want to book an excursion, they have this whole little desk area set up where you can kind of like pick and choose which company you want to go with, which tour you want to do. So that's really awesome, because when you're at an Airbnb, you usually have to go through other websites and companies prior to, getting there and get that set up and make sure that they're legit, and then have to, make sure you have a ride to the point where they're going to pick you up from, a ride back, make sure you're on time. Once again, a lot of planning and stuff. Then you also have medical resources on the resort. If you happen to cut yourself, boom, got Band-Aids. If you happen to get some type of motion sickness or stomach flu, whatever, got medication. If you got a headache, got that. You know what I mean? Even if it's more serious, you have that. Resorts also are very luxurious, depending on where you're going and staying. You can upgrade your room to the finest ocean view with the hot tub in the middle of your room. And even if you don't, most of their rooms are really nice. Most of the times I get a more basic room and I'm always pleased with the views, always pleased with the luxury that comes along with the resort, okay? Then you have the opportunity to mix and mingle and make friends. So not that you don't when you're at an Airbnb, but you have more people around you, more opportunities when you're on a resort. So if you're one of those female solo travelers that's like, hey, I'll go alone, but I gotta meet someone. I can't be sitting at dinner alone every night. I can't be going on these excursions alone. I gotta meet some friends. Boom, resort is perfect for you, because you'll meet people at the swim up bar. You'll meet people at the normal bar. You'll meet people walking to and from your room. You'll meet people on your excursions, and you'll be able to actually link up with them for breakfast, link up with them for dinner. And let me tell you, people are very open to that. I've had like whole families, like husband, wife, and kids that are like, yeah, come have breakfast with us tomorrow. Or like a group of girls, a group of guys that are open to me like coming to join them for dinner. So you'll definitely have that opportunity to mix and mingle. Then if you choose an all-inclusive resort, which I always do, you have the awesome accessibility to unlimited food that is always really good, in my opinion. Unlimited alcoholic beverages, which is like, bruh, like that's lit. Who wants to keep paying for beverages or buying bottles, which you would have to do usually if you stay in an Airbnb. And then unlimited normal beverages, water, juice, soda, whatever. And a lot of the amenities are unlimited as well. Unlimited room service, things like that. So it's really, really awesome and worth it, in my opinion. Then you also have the transportation and an extra eye on you, right? So like all the resorts I've stayed at, the transportation will check in prior to the trip, make sure that you know where we're linking up at. They'll have a sign with your name. easy. You arrive at the airport, you go with the company that you have transportation with. They make sure they get you. They make sure they don't leave anyone behind. You get to your resort, you check in. Within a few days or within that first day, they make sure that they're all set for your transportation to depart back to the airport. And they'll make sure the time is correct. They'll look at your flight time. They'll kind of, decide what time they need to leave to make sure you're there in time to check in and stuff. They'll do a double check. They're just going to make sure that they don't leave you behind and that you get to where you need to go prompt, on time, no issues. And I really appreciate that, because sometimes when you're traveling, like, you forget to do certain things. You forget, like, dang, well, the airport's 2 hours away. If my flight is at 1, we can't leave at 11, so they always have your back. You have that extra eye on you, which I appreciate. Then you also have a ton of reminders, right? So let's say there's like an all-white party at 6 o'clock. Usually when you check into the resort, they give you some type of app that just gives you information, updates, stuff like that. So yeah, say it's an all-white party. You come in, you're chilling, you totally forget. Boom, here's a reminder on the app. Go back to your room, get ready. We're having this all-white party. Or now they have this COVID testing. Here's a reminder. Go check on your COVID results. Things like that. And I really appreciate that, because like I said, sometimes, like, I know me, when I'm on vacation, I go into a whole nother headspace and I just tap out of my reality, this like very hustle and bustle, always got things going on, always got things that I gotta remember, and I just tap out of it. And sometimes with tapping out of it, I tap out of things that I need to be keeping on top of. And so you get those reminders. Hey, you have they'll literally call your room. Hey, you have an excursion tomorrow. Don't forget to be in the lobby at 6 a.m. Perfect. Thanks. I'm lit. I almost forgot. You know what I mean? So yeah, and that is the end of this video, guys. I hope that I was able to give you some helpful information. To all of my female solo travelers, male solo travelers, people that are just traveling in general, I hope that this gave you some insight. And please, 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 guys, comment below. Let me know if there's anything that I left out. Let me know if you have any more questions. And yeah, please continue to share my videos, like my videos, subscribe, tell your friends. And yeah, let's get to 1,000 followers, okay? See you guys later. Peace.